Hey everybody, just getting started here. So, again, this was an unscheduled live show, and I'm sharing on social media right now. I encourage everybody to do the same. Be thinking of your questions. We're going to talk about can everybody hear me okay and see me? I know I've kind of got the camera far back, but I wanted to allow all of these objects on my table to be in the camera's field of view. So let me get it out on Twitter here. Y'all go ahead and share too. Get everybody a break from the election. I know if you're in the United States, probably not the top thing you want to be watching right now. You probably want to be talking about drones. I know I do. So let's see. So yeah, let's just get this shared out here. Got people tuning in. This is great. Share with others. Share on your social media. And let's get a really big audience to get a really good conversation going here. So let's see. Got it on my Google Plus. Let me send it out on some other social media. And then just some more social media, and we're almost going to get started here. Just one more second. Appreciate y'all's patience. I know this is it's a brief delay here. Okay, let's rock and roll. You can see I've got my Karma in my studio here, and actually I was so excited to fly the Karma, and obviously I don't fly a drone at night because it's just not safe. So I did not sleep last night because I was thinking about flying this Karma, and I've got a video, and I'm watching it out of the corner of my eye and the other computer in my studio, but I've got an exhaustive first GoPro Karma field test flight. It's about a 30-minute long video. It's exporting now. It's probably 60% finished exporting. It's 4K Ultra HD. So I look forward to sharing that with everyone as soon as it's exported, uploaded, and processed on YouTube's end. So, you can see for yourself what it does. But what I want to do within this live show is talk about any comments you have. Okay, everybody can hear me loud and clear. That's great. So I'm going to start at the top here. I can see and hear you good. Yeah, same here. Drones are always a positive from the dread of the election. I agree. Forget about the election. Let's talk drone politics. That's all that matters on this live show. So, have you got any news on your Mavic? Actually, I followed up, and my Mavic has not yet shipped. And it seems that the Mavic, either there's a shortage, whether it's intentional or unintentional, whatever the case may be. I do not have the Mavic yet. But, obviously, I have the GoPro Karma. And I was, in my mind, I was a little bit, after seeing all the Mavic buzz, I was kind of disappointed. It's like, oh, man, I got the Karma first. But, just wait. We're going to get into that in the show here in a minute. I want to know about the DJI goggles. Haven't messed with the DJI goggles yet. Have any of y'all? I've messed with the Cinemizers, but I haven't done that. The recall, that recall is going to kill. Which recall are you talking about? Is there a recall of one of these products? GoPro Karma recall. Oh, you didn't hear about that? That's too bad. GoPro's recalling Karma Drone 10, the 799 drone, can randomly lose power during operation. Well, that's unacceptable. Wow. How steady is Karma in the air? Great question. How was your first flight with it? Again, as soon as that video is ready, I'm going to upload it, and you'll be able to see the entire flight. No editing. It's the raw footage out in the field right at sunrise. So you'll be able to see that, but I am going to talk about it. So, yeah, that's a bummer, the recall. GoPro. Man, that's not good for GoPro. Now, this one is not, to my knowledge, is not the recalled one. This is the GoPro Karma with the Hero 5 Black. So, let's talk about the flight experience. And let me get some water. I am sandwiches, and I'm like, oh, not a healthy eating day, but so yeah. So the first flight with the Karma, it was good. And starting out, the first thing that I loved the most about it, yeah, the barbecue sandwiches are great, but I got indigestion. I got them extra hot. The controller with the Karma really knocked my socks off. The feel of it, down to the control stick, slightly rubberized feel. Feels like I'm playing a video game. The controller has audio, and it's kind of neat. I found the entire process to be very intuitive. Where I was surprised, and you'll see this in my field test video when it's uploaded here. Hopefully tonight, it may be tomorrow before it's available. But I didn't expect to have to do a calibration, because when I put it down on my case in the field, I had some metallic objects around and it interfered, so I had to do a compass calibration. But ironically, the compass calibration for the Karma was, you walk in a circle, and then you walk in a circle again with the camera pointing towards the ground, just like you do with the Phantom. So I found that to be very straightforward. The app, out of all the drones that I've flown, the GoPro Karma app is just super intuitive. There was never a point where I was guessing, should I do this or should I do that? Now, I love DJI's interface, and I love the intelligent flight modes that DJI brought to the table, but they're slightly confusing. For example, and you'll see it within my field test video, with the orbit mode. It was as simple as going out, and in this case, I wasn't orbiting an object. I was orbiting myself in the field. So I stood out there, and when I had the Karma directly over my head, I hit A. And then it said, okay, get your radius. So I flew at about, 5 or 10 feet in front of me, and then I hit B, which was a radius. And then I hit go, and it continued to orbit in a 360-degree pattern. I could control the speed. I could control the gimbal tilt. It was a very intuitive experience. Yeah, the NVIDIA, this controller does kind of look like that, doesn't it? It's really nice. Do you think DJI is coming out with the Inspire 2? Personally, I hope not, but if they do, they need to shrink that thing. The Inspire was too big, it was too heavy. They need to find, if they want to offer a pro camera option, what they need to do, and this is what I think they may be doing, is offer a pro version of DJI Phantom 4 or release a DJI Phantom 5 with a modular camera option. I think that would be the best case scenario. So the field test, my first flight with this GoPro Karma this morning, that was easy. It did the compass calibration. To take off, I pushed the takeoff button. It went up in the air a few feet and hovered. Okay, so the first minor gripe that I had with the Karma, and this is a minor gripe, but it's still a gripe, is the hover. Now, if you've dealt with DJI Phantom 3, DJI Phantom 4, when you don't have your hands on the stick, you got the control in your hands, but you take your hands off the stick, that thing will hover pretty much so precisely that the visual effect is that camera is on top of a tripod, a virtual tripod. In reality, it's hovering in the air. Now, with the GoPro Karma, and keep in mind, I've got all the current firmware as of last night. So I updated all the firmware. The controller, the drone, the gimbal, everything. All the firmware was up to date. But with the current firmware as of November the 7th, with all the current firmware, you will notice a little bit of drift. And it's not a lot, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable enough to where you know that when you're looking at that video, that camera was not on a tripod. And if it was on a tripod, something funky was going on because it was, it was kind of drifting around. So that was, let's pause here for a moment. How do you feel about the use of drones in the agriculture and farming industry? And what drone would you think would be a good one to use for it? Well, that's a different topic. That's in a different arena. My focus on drones is from a hobbyist perspective, so that would be commercial use, which would kind of be a different animal. So I wouldn't be your best resource for that. But my assumption would be that it depends on what you're doing. I mean, it's a camera on a drone. I wouldn't spend more than I had to. I mean, I'd probably just get a DJI Phantom or a DJI Mavic or possibly a GoPro Karma. Yeah, Richard said Phantoms work great for farming. Yeah, Phantom is great. And if you haven't been a long-term subscriber to my channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy, where you're watching this right now, you may not know, but Phantom is my favorite drone platform. I've flown Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 3 Professional, and now the Phantom 4 and the DJI Mavic, DJI's new small drone, smaller than the Phantom, is about to come out. So it'll be interesting to see how that stacks up. But yeah, Phantoms are proven to be reliable platforms from both a video quality, video stability, ease of flight, and hassle-free ownership from my experience. But yeah, back to the Karma. The Karma is, so I noticed that when it was hovering, there was a slight fluctuation. I mean, it wasn't perfectly still. So that, again, a minor gripe. I take it out in the field. I'm not a DJI fanboy. I'm not a GoPro fanboy. I'm not a whatever brand drone fanboy. I like to go out in the field and see what it does. So that was my first mild disappointment with the Karma. But as soon as I got out of that hover phase and started flying it around, I really appreciated the tactile feel of the controller. I really liked how the speed of the drone, it seemed to be really fast. Now keep in mind, I don't care about speed. I'm using a drone to capture video, smooth and high quality video in 4K 30 frames per second. So the speed didn't matter to me, but it was impressive to see it zip around. One thing I noticed about the Karma, and this was distinctly different than the DJI Phantom series, the lights, the red lights and the green lights, the navigational lights. Those things were extremely bright. I mean, this thing was obviously in visual line of sight, but several hundred feet downfield, and I could see it plain as day. So from a safety perspective, I like the bright lights that are present on the Karma. And I didn't notice those bright lights interfering with the camera. This does not have obstacle avoidance. So if you're looking at a DJI Phantom 4, it's got obstacle avoidance. The GoPro Karma, at least this model, does not have obstacle avoidance. So if it comes close to an object without obstacle avoidance, it's likely going to run into it. So how did the screen hold up in the sun? Well, that's one thing, unfortunately, I didn't get to too thoroughly test. Now, I was out there at sunrise, and the sun was out. But there was a significant cloud cover at a higher altitude, so, I could see it plain as day. What I want to do is test it in very sunny conditions, and then I also want to test it in windy conditions, because today there was next to zero wind, so I didn't get to see how it would hold up, how it would counteract gust of wind. If you've flown the Phantom 3 or the Phantom 4, you know that the Phantom platform does an exceptional job of handling well in wind. Now the battery life, and you'll be able to see within my video it's still exporting. I'm watching it over there in Compressor, which is my video export utility. But the battery life was good. Not anywhere close to a Phantom 4, not close to a Phantom 3. But what was kind of disturbing about the battery is that, when you get the low battery warning on the controller will talk to you, and it'll say low battery warning. When it says low battery, it's not like with your Phantom. If you're like me with a Phantom, you set your low battery threshold to about 30%. That gives you ample time if you need to finish up a video to have a minute or so to do that and then land safely. When the GoPro Karma battery got low, we're talking a matter of minutes. So, and I anticipated that. I was prepared to be close to the ground. Should it lose power, should it fall, it likely wouldn't damage the drone because it was so close to the ground at that point. So that was, let's see, we've got some comments. GoPro says a power loss malfunction is the reason for the recall, though. It won't say how many experienced this error. Okay, I'm going to have to check into the, to the recall and make sure that mine is not impacted. And I appreciate y'all bringing that to my attention because I unfortunately have been so wrapped up in politics all day that I have not followed the GoPro like I should. We found several incidences where consumers experienced irregular behavior by their Karma, but it's hard to say the exact cause was power malfunctions. So, yeah. Now, keep in mind, I've only flown one battery, and I've only flown one time. So now let's talk about camera quality. Obviously, this one has the GoPro Hero 5 Black. I found the dynamic range to be very good. To look at the image quality of 4K 30 frames per second video on the GoPro Hero 5 Black at 4K 30 versus 4K 30 on the Phantom 4, you're going to notice more detail. At least I did. But unfortunately, unlike the Phantom 4, when you get some altitude, and obviously safe and responsible altitude, I'm talking a couple hundred feet, but when you get the altitude, you really start to notice a pronounced fisheye. If you look at the curvature of the land, it's very what's the word for it? Is in my exaggerated. I don't like it. But at low altitude, I don't notice the fisheye as much. But when you get up, you start to see it. And for what I do, when I see that fisheye, it takes away from the effect, unfortunately. So I wish that GoPro offered a camera option because I like the system, and I like the fact that I get the Karma grip right here. I can walk around handheld with the same camera and get gimbal stabilized video. But I don't like the fisheye. Yeah, you're right. Fisheye never looks pro. It doesn't. And I know there's post-production tools where you can take it out, but why deal with all that in your video editing workflow if you can have a camera that's not going to capture the fisheye to begin with? So that to me is a disappointment. But I mean, the controller is super nice. Feels great. Never had an incident where, never had a moment rather, where I lost FPV view within the built-in display. I mean, it was super crisp. I don't know what the resolution is of the FPV, but it was very clear. I was able to see what was going on, obviously, while maintaining visual line of sight with the drone. But yeah, it's I'm kind of on the fence about it because the size, yeah, it's lighter, it's smaller, but really, how much lighter and smaller is it than the Phantom 4? So it's kind of in that weird size territory that, and again, I'm excited to get my Mavic. I haven't gotten the Mavic yet, but it's kind of in a weird size territory. If you think about this, if you're looking at it like, well, I don't have the current model GoPro, I don't have a gimbal for the GoPro. If you look at it from that perspective, and you add the price of the gimbal and the GoPro Hero 5 Black, add all that up versus the bundle that also includes the Karma drone, you may think, well, you know what, I'll get a flying mount to go along with it. And that's the way that I think about it. I think about this as a mount for my GoPro versus a drone. When I think about a DJI Phantom 4, and I'll probably think about a DJI Mavic the same way when I get the Mavic, but I look at those as drones exclusively. I mean, that's what they are. They're meant to be a refined aerial video and photography platform. But this, I look at it more as a slightly more portable or slightly less cumbersome device to carry around, but you're also carrying around the other things, the handheld gimbal and the GoPro and that sort of stuff. So it's this, and don't get me wrong, the Karma has impressed me, but and it may not be an issue for you, but the deal breaker for me with the Karma, to use the Karma as my primary drone, the deal breaker for me is the fisheye. I can't deal with the fisheye in video. Sure, when I've got a GoPro in the hood of my car and I'm driving down the road with a suction mount, it looks great. I love that GoPro footage. When I've got the GoPro in a monopod, it looks great. It looks even better when I put it on the new GoPro Karma grip, the GoPro gimbal. It looks even more awesome. But when it's in the air, it's just, I find myself looking at the video and be like, man, this is great, but man, I don't like that curvature. I don't like that fisheye. And you'll see when you see the video, it's probably 80% exporting now. Keep in mind, 30-minute long, give or take a few minutes, 4K Ultra HD video. So this is a beast. It's going to take a while to upload. But y'all be able to see it. Hopefully tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be uploaded by then. And I mean, that's the first flight. You'll see everything from putting the propellers on to taking them off, putting it in and out of the backpack, the various features. I hold the controller up in front of the camera while I'm filming, so that you can see the options that one can select within the software interface on this. I mean, there's let's see, a comment coming in. DJI is a drone company that adapted to installing cameras on their drones. GoPro is a camera company that created a drone as a flying mount. Very well stated. I agree completely. And you know what's interesting about DJI, and a lot of people may not realize this, and I don't know if this is the case with all of the DJI drones, but I think at least with the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4, my understanding is that is a Sony Exmor based camera. So, that's part of what, it's not just like a company that said, oh, we're going to make drones and we're going to make our own camera. No, it's a company that makes drones, but they're using very high-end. I love Sony. I love Sony imaging. And they're using very high-end components within that camera. And that's part of what does that. What about filters for correction of fisheye? Great question. Filters, I know there's some, and that's just for GoPro in general, because, I mean, ultimately, when we're talking about fisheye reduction on the GoPro Karma, we're talking about fisheye reduction on the GoPro camera, because it's the camera that's on the, Karma drone. So I know a lot of people that have used that type of equipment. I know people that have done it in post-production in software. They've removed the fisheye effectively within software. But again, for my workflow, based upon the volume of videos that I film, edit, and release, for me, that's just another step in my workflow that I don't want to deal with. I mean, if I can use a competitor's product and not have to deal with those steps, that's more optimal for me. I'm not bashing the Karma when I say that. Is the setup before each flight easier or harder versus Phantom 4? Well, and you'll see it in the video when I get it up, but just to recap, basically pop this thing out of the backpack, which I love this backpack, by the way. It's not an afterthought. I mean, this is a well-designed backpack with padded shoulder straps, padded piece on the back. It's very well designed. And the interior has this eggshell type material to better protect the drone during transport. So this is a nice backpack. But the setup, take it out of the backpack. Take it out. Pop out your arms. Twist your propellers on. By the way, there was no tool required to attach the propellers. Those are, I guess, if they get stuck. But, screw them on. There's 2 silvers. There's 2 black. Look at the nipples in the middle of the propeller. Twist those on. Make sure they're on well enough. and then obviously insert your camera and your gimbal. I've got it out right now because it's charged. I'm charging my GoPro, and then pop out your landing gear. This was a point of concern that I had, was the landing gear. I was wondering, especially when landing on semi-high tall grass, whether the camera, the GoPro and or gimbal would make contact with the ground when landing, and it didn't. So that was, this is a lower profile landing gear than what one's used to seeing on a DJI Phantom, but that was not an issue. And obviously the takedown, the ones closest to the camera, you pop them in first, and then the ones in the rear, and then just stick it in your case. I mean, it was super simple. And I mean, all I had to do on the controller, I powered on the controller. It automatically found the Karma. It went into a screen, and in my scenario, I had to calibrate the compass. So it told me I needed to calibrate the compass, and it jumped to, walk in a circle, and then hold it, the camera pointing down, walk in a circle again. That was it. Super simple. I would say that it was, not that a Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 4 is necessarily difficult to perform the pre-flight procedures and get it airborne, but I would say the GoPro Karma is easier. It was just a more streamlined experience, and you can tell the software interface, the software built into the controller rather, is it's a lot more refined. I mean, ultimately GoPro, and I know a lot of it is made overseas, but GoPro is a U.S. based company. So as far as natively, people that speak English natively working on the software, you can tell that I didn't find any grammatical errors within the software interface. It was very easy to understand. And what was also cool is that for the various modes like orbit, etc., they included 3D rendering, so you could see like a little short video clip that would play, showing you how that mode's going to work. So it was, if you're a visual person versus a person that likes to read, it was very intuitive. So GoPro wins with the software, in my opinion. With that said, at least with the current software, there's not as much functionality. They've got and you'll see it in my field test, they've got the orbit, which is where it orbits me, and then they've got what they call a droney, which is basically it shoots straight out, kind of like you're going up the side of a pyramid in films. So that was another feature. And I think there may have been another feature or two. I didn't have enough battery to explore those. I've only got one battery, and I feel like I packed a lot into that first field test, and I think y'all are going to like it. So I can't wait to hear your feedback when you watch that first field test video. So, that video is still exporting, my 4K 30-minute long first field test video. I mean, it is long. So let's see, what other questions do we have here? Great questions. I mean, I'm here to answer everything. I'm not, I'm going to tell you what I experienced. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture of, oh man, this is the best drone on the market today. And likewise, I'm not going to say it's horrible, because it's not. It's kind of weird they only gave, not that I plan to break propellers, but they only gave you 2 spares versus DJI Phantom where you get a complete set of 4, replacement set of 4. Man, I'm all over the place. no particular home base. Compared to DJI Phantom 3, which one stands out? Okay. So, DJI Phantom 3, I had the Phantom 3 Professional. As we know, it had 4K 30, it had light bridge. Phantom 3 Professional did not have obstacle avoidance. Phantom 3 and Phantom 4 for me, it was a very close comparison. Since I personally don't care about obstacle avoidance, I think it's great because it's a gesture of creating a safer drone that people that may be anti-drone, ooh, there's a drone, watch out, dude. They may see the safety features and be like, well, this is more safe. It's like a safety belt or an airbag for drones. Maybe they're not that bad after all. It instills that sort of mindset within people that are anti-drone. So, I liked it from that perspective. But at the end of the day, the differences between Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4. Phantom 4 feels more structurally sound. The shell on the top, rock solid. Feels like it's very well made. Feels like it could potentially take a mild amount of abuse and still be okay. Phantom 4 gimbal assembly was more internalized, whereas the Phantom 3 Pro, there was a lot more hanging out the bottom. So, but when it came to video quality, the Phantom 4 video at 4K 30, I would say at best was negligibly better than the Phantom 3 Pro 4K 30 video quality. It may be a slightly smoother, it may be slightly sharper, but if it is, it's in my mind, and it's probably because I know that I filmed it with a newer drone. If you took 4K 30 from Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4, blindfolded somebody, you put a video clip in there and said, watch this clip, watch that clip, my guess is that it would be next to impossible for someone to say, oh, that was Phantom 4 versus that was Phantom 3 Pro that filmed that. So, not a big difference between those two drones. Now, when you compare those to the Karma, completely different animal. Because as we mentioned with the Karma, you do get a little bit better portability, but it's really, it's flatter and longer. I mean, this backpack, I love this backpack, but if it wasn't in this backpack, I mean, this is collapsed with the gimbal detached. I mean, you've still got a decent travel size and a decent travel weight. Not necessarily a bad thing, because if it was too much smaller, I don't know how it would handle the wind. And that's what I'm curious when my Mavic arrives, is to see it being so much smaller, how it can hold up in the wind. Because on paper, the Mavic appears to be an almost perfect solution. To be tested. So, yeah, the Karma is a different animal than the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4. So think of the Phantom 3 Pro as a discounted version of Phantom 4, because it's likely less expensive. But, I mean, I'm a video guy. I like 4K 30 frames per second video. And for me, this fisheye is, I don't like it. I'm not saying it's unbearable, I just don't like it. But I do like having the handheld grip included with the drone. I do like having the screen included with the controller. And yeah, and you'll see when I do my field test video, I actually wear the backpack, and it's not that deep, and it's comfortable to wear, but it's definitely tall. So and I'm a tall dude. I'm about 6'3", I think. And you'll see on me, it looks pretty tall. Even though these two drones have just been released, do you think both will have substantial improvements in the next version? I do. I think Karma, for example, and this is where GoPro's really going to have to embrace drone versus camera. What GoPro needs to do immediately is release another camera option that has no fisheye. Since this is a modular system, think about it. That's the value of this. In theory, they can make another camera and you can plug it into here. Or maybe a third party will make a camera that's compatible with the Karma that doesn't produce fisheye. Somebody like a Nikon or a Blackmagic. Think about that. What if they made a GoPro Karma compatible camera? You've got a flying platform that works well, but then you've got a camera that doesn't produce the noticeable fisheye. So, if this is recalled, I will definitely be sending it back. But that's an action item for me. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to contact GoPro and see if this is recalled or not. And if it is recalled, I'm going to say, well, how long do I have before I have to send it back? And I'm probably going to play with it for a few more days and then send it back. I think because they released the DJI Mavic Pro, they will be having other possible additions to it, like the advanced version or whatever. I agree. That would make sense because, when we saw the DJI Phantom 3 Pro and then DJI Phantom 3 Advanced, and then we saw the 4K and the standard pop out. Standard and then the 4K. Great questions. Yeah, this is, if you go into GoPro settings, you can change the field of view. Default is wide. Interesting. But if it's not wide, which mode would you pick to not have the fisheye? So yeah, I mean it's a good drone. Medium. Okay. I'll do a field test with GoPro Hero 5 Black and medium field of view. Thanks for the tip. We'll see. We'll do a video. I'll do a video field test and put it up so everybody can see what they think about that. If it still looks. Howdy everyone, Steve here. Welcome aboard, Steve. Welcome aboard. But yeah, this backpack even has a perfectly cut out area for the controller, which is kind of cool. Well, my battery charged. I like how you can charge the battery and the Karma grip at the same time, or the battery and the GoPro, or the battery and the controller, at the same time. Because it's got a USB-C on it. That's what the controller, the GoPro Hero 5 Black, and the Karma grip used to charge. Is USB-C. But see, I just put the battery in it. It's really cool how the battery goes in and out. It's got that handle. So it pulls out so you can pull the battery out. Easiest sliding in and sliding out of a battery that I've experienced. With that said, when you push it in, you push this down, I don't feel like it's going to fall out during flight. And if you ever dealt with the original model, I'm talking about the DJI Phantom 1, you know how prone to opening that little battery door was. How long is charge time? This battery, I flew down to about a minute remaining. And I'm thinking it charged... I didn't time it, but I'm thinking it was around 45 minutes. Is the battery 4-cell, 3-cell, or 4-cell? How would I tell how many cells it has? It says it's a rechargeable line battery pack, 14.8 volts capacity, 5100 milliamp, 75.4 watt hours. Made by Amperix Technology Limited in China. If they don't re-release, it might become a rare collector's item. Hey. You know what? It's actually an interesting thing, if this thing could become really like in high demand and just like eBay or something, Cool, 4-cell. Number 4-cell. 3.7 by 4. Cool. Yeah, so I mean this is... That video is still exporting. The field test video looks like it's about 90% now. I can see it over there in the studio monitor. Ooh, wow. Yep. So we got what other questions? I mean, let's pick this thing apart here. Pick it apart, see what it does. Let's see. Wow, this is cool. I'm looking at real-time analytics. We got a lot of activity for this video. That's really cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I mean, this is Sorry I missed the start. Are you returning it due to the recall? Well, great question. I was unaware. I've been out of touch with reality due to all the political stuff. But I wasn't aware of a recall until viewers tonight in this live show brought it to my attention. So I'm definitely going to be checking tomorrow to see if it's recalled. And obviously, if it is recalled, I will definitely be returning it. I don't want to be stuck with a paperweight. So, but with that said, I haven't had any problems with mine. But if it's recalled, it's kind of like a car or something. You get that recall. It's like, there's been a recall of pin number 752, and the recalled pin, if you don't replace it, it may make the glove box hard to open. I mean, that kind of stuff, I'm not going to mess with that. But if it's something with an investment like this, especially something that's in the sky that could create problems, I mean, it's not an inconvenience. It's a point to where it could become a potential safety hazard. The Mavic, I hope as soon as possible. I don't have an exact date yet, and it's driving me bonkers. I mean, I'm ready to get the Mavic out, and in a perfect world, I would have the Mavic and the DJI here, and I mean the Mavic and the GoPro Karma here, and be out in the field, and and just putting them through their paces. But having to wait on that. Probably a good idea to return it. Shame it was going to be my first drone. Was looking forward to it. I wouldn't throw in the towel yet, even if it is recalled. I would expect one thing that, and I've dealt with GoPro's customer service for the cameras. Had an issue. I think it was my GoPro Hero 3 a long time ago. Super easy to deal with. They didn't try to get me off the phone. They made sure my issue was resolved. GoPro customer service, in my experience, has been top notch. And I don't. How does the gimbal attach? Let me show you. Okay, so the gimbal is over here on my desk in my studio. Let me get it. I'm getting it off, bringing it over. So, here's the gimbal. And here's the GoPro Hero 5 Black. The GoPro Hero 5 Black, it's got a removable door on the side that when you're using your GoPro Hero 5 Black with a Karma grip or the Karma drone, the door's got to come off. Obviously, if you're using it in the water, you got to put that door on or you'll destroy it. But this is the gimbal. I like the design of it. All internalized wiring, very nice. And you can see it's got a USB-C and an HDMI in the gimbal. So basically all you do, you align your camera, look at those USB-C and HDMI, make sure it's aligned. And it is you got to push it kind of hard. And then once you do that, you close this and it latches. Now you've got your Hero 5 Black and the gimbal. Now, I'm going to show you both scenarios. So, the Karma grip, which I love that they included this. If they recall this, I wish GoPro, as a courtesy, would say, you know what? We messed up. Why don't you keep your Karma grip and your GoPro Hero 5 Black? They're not going to do that. But wouldn't that be cool if they did and you just send the drone back? So, on the Karma grip, and everything's well labeled. It's lock and unlock. So you put it in unlock position, and then you look here, you'll see like a USB-C type connector. You stick it in, and then, let's see, did I stick it in far enough? Yeah, it's stuck in, and then once it's stuck in, you turn. Now you've got your GoPro, in this case, on the GoPro Karma grip. I'm going to power it on. And so you can see there it's powered on. So that's the handheld GoPro Karma grip. I really like this. Ultimately, if I decide that the Mavic is the cat's meow, I will likely get just the Karma grip because I like it. It's very, Very well made, internalized wiring. And then obviously with the Hero 5 Black on the back, you can see the screen, so you can see what you're filming. Whereas with the Osmo, DJI's option, you don't have a screen on it. You've got your iPod Touch or your iPhone or your iPad. So this is very compact, easy to travel with. I love it. So now let's put the gimbal on the Karma drone. So I just powered it off. And now all I got to do is put it to the unlocked position. And pull it out. Here's my Karma grip. And now I get the GoPro Karma drone. Make sure that it's in the unlocked position, which it is. I visually inspect the bottom and I see that hole, and then I see the plug in there. I line it up accordingly. I push it in, and then I flip it to locked. And that's it. Super simple. Super intuitive. I really like the design. I mean, when you hold this drone, you know you're holding something of quality. It's not like some of the other DJI wannabe competitors that are releasing just very crude type designs. I mean, this is very refined in my opinion. And it feels like it could take a mild amount of abuse, which is great. Because, I mean, you're going to be carrying this stuff. If you're getting a drone, you're going to want to take it places. And you don't want to have to deal with, like, well, I took it, man, but I'm afraid it's going to become damaged. You don't want to have to deal with that. This little foam piece, if you get one of these, be sure to keep it, because it goes between the front of the Hero 5 Black and that, just to prevent it from jiggling around in transport. Wait for his Mavic review. We'll probably get that instead. Don't want to wait anymore for Karma. It's nice, but, again, check out my field test video. I mean, this recall is a real marketing and financial disaster, as well as consumer confidence hit. Could have serious effect on the company's stock, which is the stock's in the gutter, GPRO, and it was really interesting because when Nick Woodman, when they released Hero Session, not to be confused with Hero 5 Session, but when GoPro released Hero Session, their stock plummeted. I mean, they were really rallying since the IPO. And then they released Session. It didn't have 4K. It was overpriced. It was a step backwards from the GoPro Hero 4 Black. Stock price plummeted. And then they went into this dark period. And they didn't release anything new. And their forward-looking statement is that we're going to release a drone and this, that, and the other. Well, then they come out with the drone, which is, I like it. But they release a Hero 5 Black, which is somewhat underwhelming. We're still topped at 4K 30 frames per second. We didn't really get much newness. I mean, it's waterproof without a case, so be it. We got a Hero 5 Session, which I think is nice. But, again, tops out at 4K 30 frames per second. Nothing really game-changing. The most game-changing thing that I see, in my opinion, is this Karma grip. And this is something, I don't know why in the world GoPro didn't release something like this way back when. I can kind of see why they did, because they're using the same gimbal that they use for the drone. But why didn't they just go ahead and put this out and sell these and then release the drone by itself at a later point in time after they'd worked out the kinks? Because if there's a recall, there's obviously some kinks that I can't see by visually inspecting it. So, yeah. GoPro implemented a new linear view function which dramatically reduces fisheye. How do we enable that linear view? I can see a huge increase in sales with Mavic and GoPro released. How will this impact laws? Yeah, I don't talk legal stuff. But that's an interesting question. So yeah, I mean I love the design of it. I mean I hope this one's not recalled, because I'm going to be really I appreciate y'all bringing it to my attention, but I'm going to be really disappointed because I've been looking forward to doing more with this. But like I said, even if it is recalled, I can probably at least get a few more flights out of it before I have to send it back. Because one flight test video is not enough. I mean, it's 30 minutes long, but it's one flight in next to no wind and cloudy conditions. Very cool. Wow, this I'm waiting on that file still is not exported. It's ridiculous. Huge. It's a big file. Yep, so mine is not recalled according to GoPro. Speaking of that, let's go. I'm going to go to GoPro's website. And let's see. Recall. Where on GoPro's site do you find the recall information? It's under support. Karma recall and return information. Yeah, if you go to GoPro.com, go to support, type in recall. Let's see. FAQs. Why is GoPro, and I'm reading this from GoPro's website, why is GoPro conducting this recall? The recall was announced after we discovered that a small number of cases, Karma units, lost power during operation. We are investigating the issue and are working in close coordination with the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and the Federal Aviation Administration. Wow. Is there a recall in the Hero 5 Black or the Karma Grip? No. My Karma drone appears to be operating okay. Can I continue to use it? No. Even though your Karma appears to be working fine, we're asking all customers to immediately stop using the product and participate in the recall. Huh. Wow. Will I receive a refund for the Karma? Again, reading all this from GoPro's site. Yes. You'll receive a refund for your purchase. All components included with Karma Drone Bundle, including Hero 5 Black and Karma Grip, must be returned for a full refund. Can I get a partial refund if I just return part of it? That's a question I'm going to ask. Will I receive a refund for GoPro Care and Karma? What if I bought accessories? Yes. You'll receive a refund for GoPro Care, for Karma, and any Karma-related accessory you may have purchased. I no longer have the receipt. Can I still return it? Yes. Do I have to return all components received with Karma if I purchase the bundle? Yes. Even though the recall is only for the Karma drone, all components included with the Karma drone bundle, including Hero 5 Black and Karma Grip, must be returned for a full refund. Wow. Okay, so it sounds like, actually, the way I read that, it sounds like sounds like mine's got to be returned. Isn't that a bummer? It's a bummer, but I'm glad that everybody brought it to my attention. So, disappointing. Well, maybe I'll call GoPro and I'll be like, dude, this Karma's so cool. The grip and the camera. I don't want to send it back, and see what they say. Just to grief them about it. Yeah, that is bad. And like everybody said, that is definitely a PR, public relations nightmare for GoPro, unfortunately. I wonder if they can recover from it. I wonder if they'll be able to recover, because what worse time could they have encountered this? I mean, right before holiday shopping season. Hey, Note 7. Maybe I ought to put this in a fireproof bag. I don't want to. I didn't say anything about catching fire, so hopefully that won't happen. Huh. Well, with that being said, and that's something you'll hear in my field test video that I recorded this morning before I knew anything about a recall. Like I said, the design, everything seems to be very well refined. It seems like they put a lot of time and thought into research and development. But how could something so blatantly flawed make it through all that? That's scary. Especially when you're sinking this. Think about it. You've got an expensive camera on it. You've got an expensive drone. If this thing, say, falls in the lake or whatever, you've lost a lot of money. You're left with a backpack and a controller and maybe a spare propeller or two and a Karma grip. But the gimbal, if this thing falls in the pond, you're losing that too. So you can't use the grip because you don't have the gimbal or you don't have the GoPro. Bummer. Well, that ruined my night. Let's talk politics. Just kidding. No, let's not talk politics. So, yeah, we're hitting about an hour. Again, just another live show. Want to keep everybody updated. Live show was informative. Disappointing at the same time. Now I know that this is rubbish. Like y'all said in the thing here, this is rubbish, and I've got to return this rubbish. And that is so disappointing. Because this is honestly, and you've seen my reviews. If you haven't, check them out on 400orbelow.com and youtube.com/IrixGuy. Check out my Bebop reviews. Check out my Typhoon H reviews. Didn't even stand a chance. This thing stood a chance to become one of DJI Phantom's first competitors. And this recall has, in my mind, it's blown it. No good. Unacceptable. But I bet they pay for return shipping. And if they don't, they'll have another PR nightmare to deal with. Hopefully the review will be up tonight. Again, the review of the first field test. Hopefully it'll get up tonight. It's so big, it's still exporting now. It's a 30-minute long 4K video. Now, I've got about a 45 meg internet connection. But, see, even after it uploads, once the video hits YouTube, YouTube processes the video on their end. And because of the extended duration of the video and the ultra-high quality 4K Ultra HD, it may not even be finished processing until morning. But as soon as it's available, I hope, worst case scenario, I hope to have it up hopefully by around 6 a.m. in the morning. 6 a.m. New York. Your videos are always straightforward. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, Lachlan, well, don't feel bad for me because it's recalled. I'll get my money back and move on. Been there, done that. I'll have a field test video for the history books. Some people can watch and be like, hey, dude, do you remember HD DVD? How about the GoPro Karma? I don't know if y'all remember HD DVD. Yeah, wow. What a way to ruin the evening. What a way to ruin the evening. But, with that being said, at least we've all gotten our mind off of politics. If anybody was remotely interested in the election, at least we've gotten that out of our system. So, yeah. Yep. So, well, I voted. And I voted this is rubbish. And it's rubbish because it's been recalled. Very annoying. Yep. But, that's technology. As preached in previous videos from DJI Phantom 1 through present, You know, we're in the bag cell phone days of drones. You know, you had that bag and it carried a phone and it had poor reception. The service charge was astronomical, but you still had a cellular phone. But it was inconvenient. You know, we're getting past the bag cell phone of drones. You know, we're getting out of that era. We're getting into the smaller, more lightweight drones. We're still not anywhere close to the smartphone of drones, but we're getting smaller, more capable. But then this turd comes out, and it's recalled. So that's, yeah, that's Samsung Gear 360. Now, will that catch on fire like the dryer and the other device? It looks cool though. Actually, have you seen and I hope to get my hands on it, the Nikon Key Mission 360. That one looks cool too. The one I've got, the little LG, and you check out several videos of that. I'm going to post some more. It's decent, but it's just it's a cool concept, but the video quality is very degraded. Yep. Yeah, DJI, have y'all heard anything negative about the Mavic yet? Beyond the fact that the video doesn't look quite as good as the Phantom 4? Very cool. You're talking about the Samsung Gear 360. Well, yeah, that's again, thanks everyone. This sucker is gonna go bye-bye because it's recalled. It is recalled. Oh well. What I do for a living, I do a lot. Ultimately, entrepreneur, social media consulting. Not necessarily just one thing. I do a lot, but ultimately my primary passion is creating, not just creating, but creating and incubating startup businesses, and then figuring out, you know, from the lessons learned, how to move on to the next, how to identify, how to create, and how to effectively incubate the next idea. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a learn as you go process, and it's I'll talk about. I'll be degraded 30 frame per second